If you're not unsettled, you're not paying attention. We work toward feeling grounded, but we're in a tempest right now. Like this is a maelstrom of craziness and unpredictability and volatility and instability, and it's disorienting. And so I don't think that feeling unsettled or feeling disoriented means that there's something wrong with you. I think it means that you probably have some level of critical thinking skills, emotional awareness. I think it's a good sign to feel unsettled right now. The question is, how do you get tethered? Have you ever noticed that the older you get, the less inclined you are to argue? That's not weakness, it's wisdom. You don't need to prove a point. You don't need to convince anyone. You simply observe, nod, and carry on. There is peace in that. I started a leadership study. When you ask leaders who are doing really important work, corporate, nonprofit, military, sports, what's getting in the way? And the answer across every single industry is courage. We spend more than half of our life at work. I've never met a content person who is working under a shitty leader. If you've ever struggled to set boundaries, you're not alone. For many of us, the idea of saying no, creating space, or drawing a firm line feels uncomfortable, maybe even impossible. Why? Because we don't want to hurt people, because we don't want to seem selfish, because we've been taught that love means sacrifice, even when that sacrifice comes at the cost of our own well-being. But here's the truth. Boundaries are not barriers. Boundaries are bridges. Have you ever watched like 5 or 6-year-olds play soccer? One of the things that's really interesting is when you watch little kids play soccer, a kick will come into a kid at like chest level, and they won't settle the ball, look down the pitch, and decide where it needs to go next. What they'll do is they'll just raise their foot up over their head and try to kick that ball back about that high. A good leader takes the incoming churn and instability, settles the ball, takes a breath, creates some space and time where none exists, looks down the pitch, and makes a smart decision about where to kick the ball next. But here's what we forget. You can set boundaries and still be kind. You can say no and still be loving. You can take care of yourself without abandoning others. And in fact, if you don't set boundaries, you will eventually start resenting the very people you are trying to love. So, to me, leadership is about skills building. It's about self-awareness, understanding who you are, because who you are is how you lead. And then it's skill set. You know, just because you have experience and subject matter expertise, just because more likely you knew the right person, doesn't mean you have the skills to lead. But healing isn't about suppressing pain. It's about allowing it to move through us. What it means to sit with the discomfort. Sitting with discomfort doesn't mean wallowing in pain forever. It means allowing yourself to feel what's there without rushing to escape it. It means acknowledging, yes, this hurts. Yes, I miss them. Yes, I feel lost right now. And instead of running from those feelings, you give them space. Because here's what happens when you let yourself feel instead of numbing. The emotions process, and eventually lose their intensity. A good leader is a leader who understands urgency, but is working from productive urgency. I have zero doubt that just because the world at large believes that you have to be a total dick to get performance out of a team, there is actually very little evidence of that over a long period of time. Pain does not destroy you. Avoiding it does. So sit with it, breathe through it, let yourself feel, because when you stop numbing, you start living again. We often think of emotional detachment as a dramatic, all-at-once transformation. We imagine waking up one morning, suddenly free of all the pain, the attachment, the longing. But that's not how it works. Letting go happens in small moments, in everyday choices that over time create real emotional freedom. Good communication is a skill that's based in clarity, discipline, and accountability. First of all, good communication is vulnerable. It's hard. You have to have a tolerance for discomfort if you want to communicate well and honestly. And that's at every level in an organization, in a family. It doesn't matter. A brave life is basically 15 frickin' hard conversations a day. So it's vulnerable and scary, and so that's part of it. Small action. Do one thing today that is just for you. Letting go is a daily choice. You won't wake up one day and suddenly feel nothing, but every day in small ways, you will feel lighter, you will feel stronger, you will feel yourself returning to you, and one day, without even realizing it, you will look back and see how far you've come. Clarity of what we want to say, economy of words, using the right words to describe what we want to do and what we want, what we mean, what we need. Discipline, checking an email 3 times, picking up a phone instead of sending a text because tone is lost on text and it doesn't work. Accountability, you say, wow, Brené, that was a really shitty thing to say. And I said, yeah, that was my intention. I'm pissed. Or, God, that was not my intention. I apologize. I could see how it landed that way. That's accountability. And then I think behaviorally, no one's taught how to do that. We don't teach people how to communicate well. I mean, we operate from an axiom, clear is kind, unclear, unkind. So I think communication has never been more important than it is right now. How to start trusting that you'll be okay. Trust isn't something that appears overnight. It's something you build one step at a time. You probably wondered, how will I ever get through this? And yet you did. You are still here. You have healed from things you once thought would break you. You have survived moments that at the time felt impossible. This is just another moment. And just like before, you will get through this one too. One of the things I think is interesting is leading by fear. Fear has a very short shelf life. In order to lead from power over, using fear, humiliation, you have to demonstrate a capacity for cruelty at very regular intervals because of the short shelf life that fear has in people. So you can't keep me afraid forever, but if periodically you can demonstrate cruelty and a capacity for it, that will rekindle my fear. I think people are becoming less and less tolerant of living that way. And I think we have a new generation of people who won't work that way. I am learning how to love myself without their validation. I am learning how to be okay on my own, because you are learning, and learning takes time. You don't have to do this alone. Lean on the people who remind you who you are, the ones who see your worth even when you can't, the ones who help you laugh, who listen without judgment, who remind you that life is still full of love and joy. If you don't feel like you have those people, seek them out. Find a support group, talk to a therapist, join a community of people who understand what you're going through. You were never meant to heal in isolation. Let others hold space for you when it feels too heavy to carry alone.